thinking about performing that song tonight. I didn't know if it would go over very well, so I chose not to. But yes, I can't fly into the States. I can only drive into the States. So it means, for me, the closest airport on the state side is Grand Forks, North Dakota. It's the size of a peanut. It's perhaps smaller than the St. John, New Brunswick airport.
Well, you can sort of relive the days of Fargo.
Exactly.
It's sort of like Fargo every time you...
It is a bit like Fargo.
Okay.
And when I was flying out of there the other day, I was flying to San Antonio, Texas, and the snow had started to fall, and we were in this tiny little plane, and it drove on the runway probably for 45 minutes, and it said, oh, we got a snow warning, we can't fly yet, so we have to go back and refuel. And I thought, I guess this is what happens in North Dakota. So.
I don't mean to jinx you or anything, but weren't Buddy Holly and
I
the Big
know!
Bopper North Dakota?
This is why I like driving.
Okay, fair
It wasn't North Dakota. Was it North Dakota?
I think it might have been North Dakota.
Oh, no.
So, other than your own performance, which was amazing, did you get to see any of the...
Yeah, well, I didn't catch the Spinney Brothers. I heard them downstairs because I was tending to my guitar. Fabulous bluegrass music from the Annapolis Valley. That's pretty amazing. And then Mike Stevens, who I've gotten to know over the years. And what an interesting combination, beautiful combination of the dance and the his harmonica playing is spectacular.
I know. It's
He's
like
just
something,
amazing.
Yeah, it's beyond
Yeah.
understanding.
So I'm looking forward to hearing everybody else tonight. I caught a few sound checks, but it'd be nice to just relax.
What's your experience with awards? You may have won an award or two in your time.
I have, but it's kind of that, it's when you don't get nominated for something, there's that thing of like, oh, am I still good at what I do? And most musicians know in their heart of hearts that the reason we do music is not to get awards and not to get recognition, but it always is kind of the handoff of acceptance by your peers, or people in the industry acknowledge what you do as really good. So when I don't get nominated, I always feel a little bit sad for a little while, and then I talk to my friends about it, and they remind me why I'm doing this in the first place, and that it isn't about awards.
For the immense sums of money that can be made in the folk
hundreds
music.
of dollars that can be made a year, and we keep doing it.
So having won a Juno Award, since you're too modest to say it, I'll say it.
Okay,
you're a Juno-winning singer-songwriter. Any advice for nominees who are sitting in the audience? What's that experience like?
It's nerve-wracking, but it's also. I remember when I was with the Jennies and we won, and I remember thinking we're nominated in a category where we know all the other musicians and they're all spectacular. So it's kind of it's one of those situations where if you're nominated, you're just part of a group of bunch of other people who are spectacular as well, and it's an honor to be nominated alongside amazing people. And so to be like, it's like, this is great. I maybe won an award, and then now I got to go book the next tour.
Yeah, it's sort of the limousine stops at, you don't
walked to and from the Juno Awards. I think I was the only musician who walked. No limos.
What are you wearing? New Balance.
Yeah, exactly. They're great, and I think what the Canadian Folk Music Awards organization is doing is trying to keep folk music, the awareness in society, and that this is a really big thing in Canada. It's keeping this alive, keeping the tradition alive, and so I think the essence of it is great, and it's just it's just great to even come here, not even being nominated for anything, but just to have the honor of coming and playing.
It was an honor not to be nominated.
It was not quite, but it was an honor to be invited to come and sing, and I got to see all these people that I know who I don't usually see on a regular basis.
And soon you'll get to eat finger foods.
It doesn't get any. I don't know. How is this interview going?
It's good. We're good.
Yeah.
Cara Luft, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We just did.
We just did it.
Thank you. Mike Stevens over there
He's
in the warm-up
He's
circle.
Amazing.
Yes. Don't fall over the balcony. We don't want to lose any folk singers tonight. That was Cara Luft, performer in the 2012 Canadian Folk Music Awards. And right over there, as he's making his way into the batting circle, is Mike Stevens. Mike Stevens is apparently talking. So while Mike gets his conversation with Kara done, I will remind you that this live stream is going to be recorded and archived and available to you for at least a few weeks. So if you're enjoying this and want to share it with your friends and say you might have been out, drinking and partying on Saturday night and you missed the whole live stream, you can come along and watch it afterwards. But now, let's talk to Mike Stevens. Mike Stevens, congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
How many times have you written and performed music for ballet before?
About 4 times. Yeah. So well, four performances of the same piece. I can't go through my back catalog and say, oh, well, there was that ballet show and that ballet show.
You may possibly be the world's greatest harmonica player composer of ballet music.
Well, in this room, certainly. Yeah, it's a blast, and I'm working on a full length, an 80-minute full ballet that's going to be solo harp and dance. I love it. Even though I have a tiny brain, I still love it.
So, is there a difference when you're composing for a performance like this, which is, I guess, multimedia in its best sense, with music and dance? Is there a difference in the way that you compose for something like that as opposed to composing purely for something that you're going to perform in concert?
Great question. No, there's none. For me, I'm affected by, colors and the heat in the room, or, how something moves. It creates emotion. The music's playing all the time. So, as we're talking right now, there's a hamster and a wheel going around, and there's a soundtrack there for me. So when I'm looking at ballet, I'm seeing movement this way, and I'm seeing movement this way, and colors, and it all represents either a melody line or a rhythm, or it's really easy. You could look at a tree line and write a melody based on how the tree line's shaped. It's the only way I can do it. There's no part of math in what I do. It's like a no-brainer for me. It's just how it feels in that moment. So it's really no different than playing bluegrass or blues or ballet. It's kind of same thing.
Is there a genre that you haven't tried as a harmonica player?
Boy, I don't know. I'm even into Bulgarian wedding music for the odd time signatures. Ivo Papazov, and I just love it all, and Tuvan stuff, and I really love it because it's not about notes. Right after this, I'm leaving to make a record with a traditional musician from West Africa, from Ghana, and it's traditional music. It's like sacred music, but we played together a bunch, and I seem to be able to find a voice in that stuff, and I don't intellectualize it. I just sort of land in the middle of it and try and play something that sounds right, that feels right, and generally that's an honest way for me to do it.
So how did you ever think that when you first picked up a harmonica that you would have adventures of the sort that you're having? So, changing the lives of young people in northern communities, having a film made, writing for ballet, now you're going to West Africa?
Yeah, I'm pretty humbled. No, not in a million years, And I grew up not having any lessons or anything. I played in the basement. My parents didn't play any music. And I think that's where I developed this thing of playing how you feel. And that's how I work with kids or how I work in the ballet. It's like if I feel something, then it's an honest feeling, and I just try and make that happen with the harp. And with a harmonica, really your body is the instrument, and the harmonica is like the speaker you stick in the end of it. So it's really a pretty easy thing to do. But I had no idea that this would unfold like this.
And certainly, watching you perform, you were dancing as much on stage as the dancers were.
It's musical Tourette's. It's involuntary. When I'm in the studio, you have to tape my headphones on. It's I can't help it. It just happens.
So, the other thing that I think is fascinating about what you do as a musician is that, to a great extent, when you're playing harmonica, you can't sing and accompany yourself.
No.
So your music is by definition instrumental, and you're able to maintain the intense attention of an audience
Yeah.
with what you do. Was that something that you worked on, or how did you develop that? Just practice?
Yeah, it's something I'm still developing. Even without the looping rig, I can now play like polyrhythmic music and play simultaneous bass lines and melody and even harmony parts and keeping it going. And I always was really drawn to that. Even, my background in bluegrass music was full band, and, I'd find a way to make that work. But then I changed it into a duo format playing bluegrass, stripped it down so it was fiddle and harmonica. When you play in that context, you have to try and play in a way that lets the audience fill in the parts for you. And it's like a good trick. But you can work on it and actually have the audience play with you. And it really works. And it works on a recording too as well.
So with your adventures, with all the adventures you have, do you plan these out?
No, I couldn't plan any of this. No, I couldn't even plan playing the harmonica for a living. No, it's just I'm one happy accident after the next. It really is. It honestly is.
That could be a good band name, The Happy Accidents.
Yeah, it could. Absolutely. There you go.
Mike Stevens, thank you so much for coming up. I wish I had a Hockey Night in Canada towel to drape over your shoulder, but fortunately there's no Don Cherry at the CFMAs.
Man. My pleasure. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and look forward to hearing you in the second half of the show. Next, we have Producer of the Year, Rob Szabo. Rob was our surprise guest, and now Mike is going to detain him. So I'm just going to talk with you for a little while. How are you out there? Are you doing okay? It's a Saturday night, I know, and there's no hockey, but we're all coping with that. And you have chosen to spend part of your evening with us. And now you're going to spend part of your evening with Rob Szabo. Hi, I'm Bob.
Hi. Bob, nice to meet you.
We'll work on the name thing as we go through this. So Rob, congratulations on your CFMA.
Thank you so much.
Was
Thanks, Bob.
this your first nomination?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So tell me a bit about the album that you won this award for.
It's called A Natural Fact, and it's an acoustic blues record that I did with my best pal, Steve Strongman.